Am I doing the intro? Oh, hey everyone, I'm Phil, and welcome to the What Do You Have to Say podcast. Podcast I do with my cousin Uriah, and we're here today talking about what is love, and just want to give you our perspective and some ideas of what we think that is, and that's it. Welcome to the show.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
And we are ready to get into this.
We are ready to get into this. What is love, man?
What is love?
Yes.
This is some people might say it's a controversial topic,
Oh,
but it's
yes.
definitely a difficult topic for some people. Sometimes it's a
Right.
fun topic because love can be many things, as hopefully we'll find out.
Right. And you took the words right out of my mouth. I was like, yeah, because it is many things. People's interpretation of love is different. And it is what is depicted before us, social media, movies, just what that idea or that construct of love, it's different. And we get to talk about it today, which is good.
Well, this has been something on my heart, and I've wanted to talk about for a while. So it is here, and listen, these are just our ideas of
Mhm.
what love means. Some of them are associated with other people, some scholarly people, some maybe not so much, but um,
Right.
because love is multifaceted, and hopefully our ideas of what love will also be multifaceted.
Yes, yes, and maybe compatible with yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that so? Let's see.
Well, let's get in here. So,
Yes.
what love means to you, me?
What love means to me. Um, I know that, and I don't take this lightly. I don't know a lot about love, but I do know that it begins with me.
Mhm.
And if I am showing up for myself, if I am respecting myself, if I am, what is this other word? If I am valuing me, that's where love begins. And I think that sometimes we look for love externally first
Mm,
without having it begins here. If I it's taking care of myself. It's having boundaries for myself. It is
mhm.
having, like I say, respect and value me first, because I have let it stop letting me down because I have let me down a lot. And until I get a hold of that, then I won't be able to share what I have. And that's what love means a lot. It means, um, not having to censor myself, not
Mm,
having to not censor, not having to pull myself back and not having to dim my light. It makes it's love, that kind of love where it's free flowing, it's accepted and valued and responded to. Sometimes we put out love, it's not
they don't come back.
reciprocated, but that's what love means to me. That's in a nutshell. And what about you? What does love mean to you?
I think I wouldn't be too far. It wouldn't be
Mhm.
much different than what you just explored, but love is about knowing self.
Mhm.
What is that? We hear it in so many different ways, but uh, if you don't love yourself, how can you love somebody else?
Somebody else.
It's
Right.
such a
Right.
true statement.
Right.
And I think
Right.
we, in general, tend to shy away from understanding or even knowing what it means to love ourselves. Because I think a
Uh-huh,
lot of times, and I just think this, I don't know to be
uh-huh,
true.
uh-huh.
I think a lot of times when we love ourselves, people think it is a selfish act or a haughty, we are ego driven if we say
Mhm.
that we love ourselves or we set boundaries for ourselves. And that's not always the truth. Maybe with some people, but I think we
Maybe
forego
so.
that. Mhm.
Right, we do,
Yeah.
and I, and another we have sometimes distorted views of what it is, of what love is through
Mhm.
maybe what we've seen on social media and what we see in dramas
Mhm.
that butterflies and everything is perfect but it has some flaws and it takes work. I believe that
Oh,
love
yes.
is a practice. I think that you have to work with it and it just doesn't happen. And yeah, that's just my thoughts
Yeah,
because
it doesn't just happen.
just it happened. I think that we see a lot of transactional love happening. Whew, and that's a whole another ball game. But and then we think that that's the way that love is. If you're doing for me, then it's, or
How
if
you
you're
gonna have
not doing for me,
how you gonna have quid pro quo in
that
with love?
with love,
Look at
and go ahead, man.
I want to show you this quote, and
Okay,
uh, I just want to see what you think about it, what your
okay,
interpretation of it is.
okay, okay.
Hopefully, there we go.
To love it all is to be what,
To
man?
love it all is to be vulnerable. C.S. Lewis.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
What'd you
C.S.
make of
Lewis,
that?
yes. I think that that is true because, to be vulnerable, especially men, to be a man and be vulnerable, is like you're being exposed. Um, and sometimes I equate to, vulnerability with being soft, um, or if that's what I can say. Vulnerability being with soft, but, to love, you have to be vulnerable
You
because
have to be
you're not always I mean, ooh, how can I say? You have to reveal things about yourself that you may not be comfortable with revealing things
to get something.
to get something. Not in a transactional way,
No, 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 no.
but to get into to have a deeper meaning in your relationship, to have a deeper connection, I believe. Um, yeah,
That
to
vulnerability says
yes.
most a lot of the research says that most men associate vulnerability with being soft or weak is the word,
Oh,
and
okay,
it is
okay.
not true. The
Mhm.
research actually shows that the strongest men and women are the ones
Uh,
who are the most vulnerable. In fact,
mm,
some of the research shows
oh,
that
oh.
um, in business per se, we'll just use this, but some of the
Mhm,
people in business who are the most successful are the
mhm,
ones who were the most vulnerable, the ones who put themselves out there with a
mm,
crazy idea. I want to do this thing.
mm,
When people said you're crazy, you can't do that. But they opened
mhm,
up and said, I'm gonna do it anyhow.
mhm,
And when
mhm,
you do that, when I say get something,
mhm.
it allows you to move through possibility. So
Wow,
vulnerability
wow.
is the key,
Yes,
and
yes,
I do wish a lot of men would understand that vulnerability does not mean that you're weak or lesser
yes.
than in any shape, form, or fashion.
Yes, yes, and
Yeah.
like as you were speaking, the word risk came up to me,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it vulnerable and risk, and we don't sometimes we don't want to take those risks because the payoff may not be what it is or what you believe that it is, but if we keep going a little bit further, you'll find out, like you say, that the most successful whomever are they take risk
They take
and
risk.
they leave themselves exposed and vulnerable to, but you live and you learn from it. So take a
Do you
risk. I
know
was
do you know the reason why The Wiz will probably stay behind me for most of the
well,
time is,
right.
this is something I got from my sister. There was a great metaphor analogy in The Wiz,
Mhm,
but, um, Dorothy, she had to go down this
mm,
journey
mm,
to get
right,
home. But
right,
what was home? She learned that home was here. Where she
right.
needed to go was always here, but she
Okay,
had to go
all
on
right.
this journey that
Journey.
was not easy, and she had
Mm-mm.
to find some things in herself that she
Mhm.
didn't know that she had. But she
Right,
wouldn't have got home had she
right,
not been vulnerable.
right, right,
Mhm.
right. And allowed those all of those lessons, all those people that she met all of
Taught her.
those. Yeah, they taught, and they were not secure in themselves,
Mm-mm.
but they just helped each other
Absolutely.
take those
O
risks. Wow.
okay,
That's good, man.
I'm looking
That's
here on our rundown. You've got "My love
yes.
language." Tell me
My
what that means to you.
love languages are something that um we kind of present to each other, or if you're in a relationship, love language, or those things that we kind of there's five of them. There are words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, quality time, and physical touch. And sometimes you can have more than one love language, and I kind of do. I like them all, but really what I'm drawn to, quality time with the person that I'm with. I need quality time, and quality time is uninterrupted time. They're not distracted on their phones, they're not distracted, they are present. And in order for a relationship to work, I really believe you have both people, they have to be present. And if you're distracted, it's just not gonna it's not gonna work. And, my other coupled with that is, um, acts of service. I'm a
Okay.
giver, and so, um but you don't necessarily have to give to me, in that fashion, but my love languages, i I first thought words of affirmation was one of my love languages, but you don't need to tell me woo 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 all the time and try to build me up that way. I'm kind of strong in that way, but quality time, physical touch, that takes kind of takes care of itself sometimes. But love languages. Have you thought about maybe what your love languages are or language is?
I have.
Okay.
And I want to expand our thoughts about love languages
Okay.
and
Go
our
ahead.
conversation about love, period. We
Okay.
are not speaking specifically about romantic love.
Right.
And love languages exist for an individual in their relationships, family,
Right.
friends, romantic, et cetera, et
Mhm,
cetera. Um,
mhm.
my, I believe quality time is um, a love language for me. People actually showing up and
Mm,
engaging, not just the people that show up and then you're listening to their
mhm.
story. They're just telling you what's happening with them. And then when they finish, when they've taken a breath, "Oh, what's going on with you?"
Yeah,
You
yeah,
probably don't care. And I do like
yeah.
words of affirmation from meaningful people,
Oh, okay.
right? Um, rightfully so. I I know the things that I can do, but it's also nice when people go like, "That was great," right? From the
Yeah.
meaningful people. I don't care
From
about
well, there you go, from the meaningful people because some words will ring empty from meaningless people. They
empty,
really will, and they're empty,
empty.
they have no weight on them, and it's just like, "Okay," and you move on, but those that hold some weight and have, you know the validity to them and authenticity to them,
Mhm.
you'll know it. And um your bell will be ringing because it's if I had some better words, I would say it. But you would know that they mean what they say because it comes from somewhere in here, and um it's meaningful. It's for
It's
meaningful
meaningful.
people. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I know we've got a clip here. Can you
Yes.
set this up
Yes.
from Dr. Arthur?
It is my love language, and I don't remember what the title of the video is, but I do
Hold
know
on.
that it is Arthur Brooks,
Why
which is
passion isn't enough?
oh, when passion is enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Arthur Brooks, he is in fact, I took a happiness course from him online, through the Harvard Extensive Learning, and he really just exposed some places where I was vulnerable and places where I needed to just release some things. And he was talking about passion and how relationships, we get past the physical at certain points in time, and we want communal and we want something deeper. And he's going to talk about it here.
You establish a relationship. What do you want it to be? What's the goal? And the answer is generally between 2 and 5 years after the
Companionate. There
initiation
you
of the
go.
relationship. You don't want passionate love. You want companionate love, which sounds, my kids have heard me say this. They're like, Dad, that's not hot.
Exactly.
Right? Companionate love has tons of passion in it, but companionate love is based on best friendship. That's what it's based on. The foundation is friendship. The foundation
And I
of
like this
enduring
really
love,
was
enduring romantic love is
Oh,
friendship.
yeah.
Here's the reason that people will fall in love and then will break
because
up and realize they hate each other. They don't just like, whatever, they hate each other. The reason is because they're disappointed about the fact that they actually were incompatible as friends. And they've slept together. Well, they've traveled
they
together.
don't even
They've done
like
all
each
this stuff.
other.
They told
It's
each
the
other their
companionate
secrets. And they're not even
love
friends. They don't even like each other.
that after all of that passionate is, we really want that. And I think it just rings true that that's what we really want in the end. Because I think it's coupled that if it's companionate is there, the passion will be there as well.
It may or may not be. I guess what he's sort of saying and what
Okay.
I'm hearing is
Hmm.
is because love is so many different things, there are
Yes.
some people that maybe after they're in their second marriage, um,
Hmm.
they aren't not looking for that first intense love. They want a companion. They want
Passion.
someone to do things with, someone that they
Hmm.
actually love. They like
Hmm.
them, but it's
Hmm.
not going to be the same as that very first. And so we do get to be different things. And I think sometimes when
Hmm.
the idea of love just pops up, we think that love has to look and be a very specific thing. You know, the 5 love languages that I have to do this and I have to give this and you have to give me this. And we don't talk enough about what I'm looking for, what I want, or we're not honest about what it is that we're looking for and what we want.
We don't talk about it enough.
Mhm.
And we're not honest. I think that sums it up. And why are we honest about it? I f- I I
I
don't
think we're
know.
not honest because I think
Oh,
with so many people, we're afraid that we won't be able to get it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we don't say what we really want because they might not like it or be able to do it, and then I won't get it. But the funny thing, going back to vulnerability, if we say,
Mhm.
"Hey, blah blah blah," they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that," or "Oh, okay, well we can do that. You want to
Yeah,
travel more, or you want me to hold your hand when we're here? We could try that." Okay,
yeah.
let's
Yes.
look at let's.
Okay.
I'm glad. Let's look at this clip. I know you know who. Well, you probably know who Bell Hooks is. And,
Yeah.
I love this quote. Uh, Tell me what your thoughts are.
Love is
Love is a
combination of care.
combination of care, commitment, knowledge, responsibility, respect, and trust.
That's a lot. Com- Care, commitment. Is a combination of care, commitment, knowledge, responsibility, respect, and trust. Yes.
So we can't.
That's all I can say because that's just a mouth. I mean, if we really took into consideration all of those things individually and collectively,
Uh-huh.
that may be a reason why we're not honest.
Because it's a lot.
Uh, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Commitment, knowledge, responsibility, trust. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot. Okay. Well, this is just the tip of the iceberg when we're
It
talking
is.
about love, right? You know, I
Yeah.
wanted to
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about Dr. Brené Brown.
Okay.
She isn't the be all end all, but I love her research on vulnerability, trust, and connection with folks. And she just, to me, is honest.
Mhm.
Who knows who
Mhm.
who she
Mhm.
actually is, but I love her definition of love. She says that love is an intangible connection between two people that feels exceptionally good. An intangible, we can't put our hands on it,
Can't put it.
connection
It's
between two people that feels exceptionally good. And the first thing that I thought about just speaking it aloud right there is like,
mhm.
think about whenever you've been in the presence of someone else who makes you feel good and you like being there, or being in their presence can lift you up or just make you feel a particular way. That's her definition of love, which I subscribe to, and I dig that.
I do too. And they don't have to say a word,
Sometimes not.
you know? They just their presence alone
Their
is
presence alone.
enough.
And she says that there needs to be 2 conditions present, right? Um,
Okay.
that the strength and the depth of the connection are determined by the level of self acceptance that each person has for themselves, right there.
Oh. Oh.
What do
And,
you?
well, I think we opened with what love meant to me, and that said it starts with me. And, I mean, if I have that level of depth and strength, for myself,
Mhm.
um, I can share that with someone else.
You can.
But they have to have that level of a and let me say this, if no two people are the same. Do agree no two people are the same. So, no two people's love is the same either.
True.
But I think that intangible part of that piece, that intangible where it's like you can't put your finger on it, you can't there's no, expressive words for it. It's
Right.
just
It just is, right?
it is just
If
is.
we if these conditions are present, so self
Oh,
acceptance that each person has for themselves,
yes.
and then this is where vulnerability comes in, right? How
Mhm.
open, how open, how
Uh,
honest and
uh,
exposed everyone is
uh,
willing to be. So how open, honest,
uh,
and vulnerable
uh-huh,
each person is willing to be.
uh-huh, mhm. Yes, and maybe they are reserved because they did set it out there. Maybe they did, just go all in and something it wasn't reciprocated and something happened. And so this the next time that it shows up and those feelings are flying and they're like, oh no, let me reserve this. Let me hold this back, but
Well, let's. You just said let's reserve it back. So
mhm,
in how she's building what love is and the conditions that are present, maybe there isn't a lot of reserve. We are moving forward because with
mhm,
that person, um,
mhm,
she also talks about how there's another 3 conditions that should be present. So trust,
mhm,
we have to believe in the integrity of the other person, that they only mean good towards me. It might not always feel right, but we must believe in their integrity and their good intentions. So that has to be the trust. There also has to be respect. Uh, they have to be worthy of our appreciation. There are some people
Mm-hmm.
who are not worthy of our appreciation. And for some other people, I may not be worthy of their appreciation. And that's okay. We just
It
move
is.
on.
Right.
Maybe we're friendly, but we don't
Mm-hmm.
have that love connection, friend, romantic, etc., right? And then there has to be some affection there, which is demonstrated t- uh, through good intentions, through our actions. So, hey, I was thinking about you and I picked that up for you.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Hey,
Yeah.
let's go do this, right?
Right. Right.
All of those things present.
Right.
So, as you're thinking about
Right.
those people that you have love for,
Mm-hmm.
those things well, they're probably present.
Probably.
They're
Or
probably present.
you would want them to be present. I mean,
Ooh,
especially trust, respect, and affirmation, affection.
yeah.
Um, without the first, even with the first two, trust and respect, I think those pillars. Though I guess you said that there were five or just three.
There's 3, but then
There's
yeah, there's
there's
3.
yeah, that those if love hangs on those three pillars, I just think that trust and respect, ooh, if that's not
Mhm.
present, you
So
can
2
r
conditions,
two
acceptance,
conditions. Okay, okay.
self-acceptance,
Uh-huh,
and
uh-huh,
honesty,
uh-huh.
and
Mhm.
then you break that down into
Now
trust,
it's
respect,
yes,
affection. And
yes,
the
yes, yes.
overview, I think the overview of all that is like that, love is not an emotion, love is the connection. Your feelings are simply a reaction to the quality of that connection.
Mhm.
So if we
Wow.
got a strong connection, that feeling's gonna be like,
Isn't it gonna be there?
it's gonna be there.
It's gonna be there. It's
It's
gonna
gonna
be
be there.
that intangible kind of thing going on.
Absolutely.
Right there. Yes, I got you.
Absolutely.
You're taking me to school. Hopefully, we're
Well, so we're
yes,
building
yes,
on this and thanking Dr.
yes,
Brené
yes,
Brown for what you brought in. But
yes.
because I know you're gonna talk about family a little bit. Let's bring in what that might look like when we expand it into a bigger, like our family.
Our family. Well, I firmly believe that family is they shape our understandings about love because they are our first. I don't want to say our first examples of love.
Mhm.
They model it for us. So, you know, if your family is a loving family and demonstrates loving and compassion and affection toward, if you're fortunate to have your mom and dad there,
Mhm.
and you see that modeled through them, which I did see that love. I could tell that my parents loved each other, and I could see that, and that being them be modeled for me, through my sisters and my brother. We all kind of had a really good understanding what love looks like. But if I was raised in a family that had, some toxic things going on, it would shape my understanding of love and of what that looks like. So that's what I say, that family shapes initially what we
Initially,
understand
absolutely.
and what we initially,
And
about
so
love. And
this clip,
yes, let's see, it is What is Love? And it's Brad Troger that is doing a TED Talk. It's a
Love
lot.
is potentially the most intensely thought about thing in all of human history. And despite centuries upon centuries of obsession, it still overwhelms
it
us.
Yes.
does.
Some say it's a feeling,
Mhm.
a magical emotion, a feeling for someone like you've never felt
Yes.
before. But feelings are fluid,
Mhm.
not very concrete foundation for a definition. Sometimes you hate the person you love. Plus, come on, you've felt feelings like it before, sort of in miniature. Your relationships with your family shape your relationships with partners. And your love for your partner may be in its own dynamic relationship, healthy or totally weird, with the love of your parents and siblings. Love is also a set of behaviors we associate with the feeling.
Wow. And I like that. He went on to say what those set of behaviors are, like holding hands. We kind of talked about that. Kissing, hugging, just displays of affection, and lastly, sex. So it is coupled with those sets of behaviors. But I really liked what he said about how in miniature families have shaped our understanding of what love is.
In he said in miniature?
Miniature ways, that
Oh,
we get to experience it in a miniature way, yeah, and maybe in our adultness, we get the full fledged of what love is.
what stood out for me in that particular clip is how he talks about how family shapes, our view of love. It is
Mhm.
so true.
Yes.
If when people can understand that some of their patterns of behavior,
Hmm, hmm,
are established quite young and then
mhm,
influenced in the family system, and
mhm,
those patterns for sure will show
mhm,
up in your romantic relationships. It'll
mhm.
show up maybe in really close friendships, and this is the weird one, it can sort of be manifested in a a weird way, like even in our work relationships, because we're
Oh,
at work quite a bit, and
are
the
we?
people
Yes.
in our work sort of represent a family in a way, and so
Mhm.
some of those ways will show up there too. So, yeah, love. It's complex,
Very much so. Very much so.
complex.
Wow. Yes.
So, I wanted to. I'm going to show you two more quotes here,
Okay, let's see.
um, and this is from Dr. Brené Brown. Um, Another one about love. We cultivate love when we allow our most vulnerable and powerful selves to be deeply seen and known. What comes up for you when you
What I'm drawn to is to be deeply seen and
Golly.
known. That means you deeply seen, completely naked, everything
Mm, mhm,
laid bare.
mhm.
Um,
Scary.
that's scary. But isn't that true?
It is
Uh,
true. That's
I,
that
I, I,
vulnerability.
I mean, that's true. That if we really want that, we got to just lay it all out. Um,
To people that we
and
trust. We won't be doing it
To
to
people
everybody.
that you trust, I know. I mean, we make mistakes. We
Yeah, we
we
do.
make mistakes, and sometimes maybe we misinterpret actions or words and things. I think we
Yes.
misinterpret they people's intentions, and we do lay it all out on the table, and then that's why they say, the video earlier said that we hate the people that we love. We could actually have those feelings because we wanted to be deeply seen and known, and but they did it.
But they
But they did
absolutely.
but they did it, and I'm speaking from experience that, yeah, I have laid it all out, and it was like, "Oh, no."
The
It
relationship
was
can't go anywhere if
it couldn't, and it
you
did it.
are open and they are not.
Are
Well,
not.
it can if that's what you accept. It probably isn't
No.
gonna be good.
That doesn't feel good at
Uh-uh.
all. I mean,
It
it
doesn't feel
doesn't
good.
feel, and it feels used, but, you have to reach that point where you say, "Oh, okay.
Okay.
I s I see you for what it is." Yes. What
Let's look
else
at
you
this
got, man?
one. This is
Yes.
from Katharine Hepburn. Uh, Very profound, I think.
Okay.
Love has nothing to do with what you are expecting to get, only with what you're expecting to give, which is everything.
Ooh. 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 you have to meet that other person has to have that as well.
Yes, they do.
I mean, only what you are expecting to give. And if no two people are the same, then no two people's love is the same
Is the
either.
same. And this is
Oh
deep because,
gosh,
I mean, this is a
that's
tenet
deep.
for, listen, we have to be willing to give, and hopefully our boundaries and our understanding, we're not just giving away the store to everybody, but with that person that
Right,
meets those criterias for us, I'm open. And if you're open, let's walk down this strange and scary path together.
right,
Yeah. And we'll see
right,
where we end up.
right. Wow. Deep. That is, oh man,
It's
man,
deep.
that's a great
It's
quote.
deep.
That's Captain Hepburn. That's rich. Very rich.
I've kept this quote for a while because it's something to think about, because I don't know if it's, for some of us, it's really hard to say, I've got to give everything and maybe I'll get nothing back,
You
but
think
I'm
you
just gonna give.
hmm,
Well, that's what they
uh,
say.
that's what they say.
If you're gonna
Go
loan
ahead.
people money, just loan it to them, not expecting that they will ever give it back to you.
True, true, and that's why here it is.
Here it is.
Yeah, you don't owe me, right?
Yeah.
Never get back. But love, you're kind of expecting something in return, though. Even though, what did it say? Not expecting nothing, just
You're
give.
hoping. You're
You're
hoping.
hoping. Okay.
You're hoping. So
Mhm.
we're gonna round out today a little
Okay.
bit with
Well,
my Angelou. A little
okay.
bit. So we this clip
Oh.
that I'm gonna show you. Um, I love this. I love this clip, but um, I won't tell you her catchphrase. I'll let her say it. But in it, she talks about the cycle of giving,
Mhm.
giving to other people. When when you when you get, give. When you learn, teach, right? And she talks about liberating yourself from the labels of others, right? Because folks is gonna put stuff on you. They're gonna try to. And
All the time.
and
All
this
the
is what
time.
self-love, or at least I'm thinking self-love is. Liberate yourself. Love yourself enough to go like, someone says this about you, it's like, no, that's not me. That's not me. And that's something you
Mhm. Mhm.
you're trying to put on me. And then she talks about how, for her, the proof of love's power in her life. And then she talks about gratefulness. So let's just jump to her, if I can find it.
My grandmother, my father's mother, raised me. She was an amazing woman. She told me, sister, when you get, give. When you learn, teach. These are lessons to live by. I thought for a long time that my grandmother was God. She was so tall. And she used to tell me, sister, Mama don't know what she's going to do. Mama just going to step out on the word. Just step out on the word of God. Faith is the evidence of things not seen. People call me stupid, dumb, a moron, an idiot, because I didn't speak for 6 years. I was a mute. And Mama used to tell me when she'd braid my hair was huge and very curly. My mama would say, sister, Mama don't care what these people say, but you must be an idiot, you must be a moron, because you can't talk. Sister, Mama don't care.
Mm.
Mama know when you and the good Lord get
Mm.
ready, you're going to be a teacher.
Mm.
Sister, you're going to teach all over this world. I used to sit there and think, this poor ignorant woman, doesn't she know I will never speak? I've taught
That's
at the
it.
Bema Theater in Israel, in Tel Aviv. I've taught in Egypt. I've been distinguished visiting professor at the University of Exeter in England. I've taught in Rome and all over the United States. And each time I have another honor, I think of my grandma. So I am grateful to have been loved and to be loved now and to be able to love, because that liberates. Love liberates. It doesn't just hold. That's ego. Love liberates.
True.
Love liberates. It doesn't
Uh,
hold
uh,
on, it lets go.
let's go.
It
It
lets
it
go.
sets you free. It sets you free, and isn't that what kind of what we all really searching for? Just set free, to be liberated, and yeah, that's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, I really love liberates. And that is a sophisticated way to think about it and something that perhaps we can work towards, but it can be difficult. I would imagine that, and I hope for many of us as we get older, that
Mm-hmm.
we do gain some wisdom that helps us understand that. I do know for a lot of young people, this is lost because you have to experience, but some, maybe you're younger, can get hold of that earlier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
True. True. Yeah.
Well, what is love? You know, I want to make sure that before we leave here today that we talk about self-love. It's important. You know, there is in a group that I was in some time ago, a group member coined the phrase because we were talking about what is love, and they
Mm-hmm.
said unconditional positive regard for self. And you know, unconditional positive regard is a term that a lot of therapists use to not say love your client. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
clinical, and I love that. Having unconditional, there are no terms. Positive, we know what positive mean, and
Mm-hmm.
regard, what I
Mm-hmm.
think, what I feel for you,
Right. For
but
you.
for
Yeah.
self. But for self. I don't know if I'm sure I've had times in my life, long periods, where I haven't had unconditional positive regard for myself. And I also know that when I didn't have unconditional positive regard for myself, I certainly didn't have it for you,
Anyone else?
you.
Right.
I didn't. I couldn't.
Right. Right. Without having it first.
Yeah.
Unconditional positive regard. True.
So now, what the question you asked me at the top, what is love? I think I'm
Mm-hmm.
answering it for myself in real
Mm-hmm.
time, for real. I do
Mm-hmm.
think it is the love that you have for self first, because when you can do that, then that can be reflected as light out into the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Mhm.
I mean, that's just it. Love
It's
for unconditional regard for here,
for
and
here.
it spreads out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, everyone, that is our show for today, and we've covered a lot of ground just talking about what is love, but it really comes down to this: love is the connection you build with
Mm-hmm.
others, and that
Mm-hmm.
connection starts with how you treat yourself. So, you know, if you have an opportunity, you know, please, you know, leave some comments, and if any of those quotes that we shared today mean anything to you, or we'd like to know what they mean for you, put it in the comments, and we'd love to hear your take on what is love. So thanks for
What
joining us
is
today.
Thank
And always remember, we want you to be heard, we want you to be inspired, and be empowered.
What is love?